Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Doing one more video, at least one more, on this Philadelphia train crash hoax. It's disappointing to know that we live in a world that this is really happening in. But when you think about it, if we truly are a nation of 300 million people, this whole stunt might cost the government a couple hundred million or so. And it's essentially a commercial for all the nation. Companies spend that kind of money to advertise during the Super Bowl, at least we're told. The country does need new railroad. I'm sure a case will be made from this story in that direction. Anyhow, in the crisis actors, there's this woman, Beth Davidz. We're going to watch her footage from the news. But what I want to point out is after the crash, she posted on her Facebook account this: from rides to wet naps to coffee to iPhone plugs to just reaching out, thanks to who reached out to me after the Amtrak 188 crash. Glad to be here and to be back in Brooklyn. So she has 111, well, 1, 2, 3. She has 114 people like this. That's hilarious. 114. It says she has 673 friends, so it looks like, okay, yeah, this looks like a kind of a real Facebook. But then you notice she hadn't posted before that since July 7th, 7/7/14. Thanks for all the great birthdays. So her birthday's on July 7th, supposedly. She didn't post on her Facebook all this time until, boom, right after the train crash. April 19th, she has a post about journalism. And before that, nothing. So, Truth Seeker, that's pretty curious. Her Facebook's curious, right? She'd go post on Facebook when she rarely uses it after a crash. That doesn't seem like the time you'd use it. This will be this traumatic event. Just like the former congressman we covered, Patrick Murphy. Anyway, her name is, first of all, Beth Davidz. And does anyone know Davidz with a Z? I've never seen the spelling in my life. Anyhow, Beth Davidz has a gematria of 47. Number so often coded into the hoax. And with regards to the theme of revelation, the two numbers used most in Revelation singularly are 4 and 7. They're used repetitively in Revelation, the final book of the Bible. With simple English gematria, her name sums to 101, 101. So, interesting name gematria. Mafia and Jewish gematria is 47. Anyway, we've seen the curious Facebook. We've seen the curious name gematria. Now we're about to watch the very curious interview. Notice it's going to begin at 7:04. I also want to just talk about this Pix News and even his LL Bean jacket. Notice that's what's on his mic, Pix 11. The word agent sums to 47. Her name sums to 47. Remember? Beth Davidz, 47. So does the word agent. There's actually a movie in a video game where there's a character named Agent 47. LL Bean. L is the 12th letter. It breaks down to 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. LL is a way to say 3, 3. Bean has a Pythagorean gematria of 13. It has a simple English gematria of 22, which I should have wrote up there, like the number of chapters in Revelation. Pix sums to 49. Revelation sums to 49. Pix with Pythagorean gematria sums to 22. Again, Revelation has 22 chapters. So, Truth Seeker, this stuff, truly coded. Now, with that said, we're just going to watch this. It's a little more than 8 minutes long, 8 minutes, 39 seconds. Here we go.
When that train derailed, we have Beth Davidz, who was on board.
Oh, yeah, Truth Seeker. He's going to say that this is a bruise. Notice she has this thing on her eye. It could be makeup. I also want you to notice that in her picture, she has sunglasses on. Could be a birthmark, and that could be the reason she's chosen to be this crisis actor.
That train.
Here we go.
When you went around that curve here at Frankford Station, so just tell me what it was like going around that curve. Was it in an instant that you felt a jolt?
Um, I mean, I didn't feel a jolt as much as it just felt like a very wide turn. It just, and then it kind of, that's when it kind of went to slow mo because it went from just like it's a wide turn to you could actually feel the car.
Truth Seeker, I want to remind you again, this train supposedly was traveling at 106 miles per hour, over twice the limit. And the footage we're showing shows a crumpled up train. If steel was smashed, a human body surely would have been smashed. And likely cell phones and a whole lot more. These people who've gone on have been unmarked. She's been the most blemished so far. This right here is supposedly what happened to her. But it looks almost like a birthmark because it goes over her eyelid. I could be mistaken.
You know something was very wrong. And then it just kind of becomes like a slow-mo moment of you're kind of tumbling in the dark, being hit by like seats. And
True Seeker, am I tripping or does that look like 121? I'm not sure. Here we go.
People and everything. I mean, you're not really sure what's hitting you because it's. And that's kind of like the slow-mo moment. I'm wondering if like that's the end. The last kind of, but when like we finally stopped and I could like taste dirt. And that's the time that the sounds came back. I mean, you hear people who were injured to my left, who was stuck, a woman who was stuck on her chair, another woman who like needed help getting up. So I mean, and that was just kind of a moment. People were like asking for how to get out of this car. So
Passengers helping passengers.
it's passengers helping passengers. I mean, we have phones trying to light it up. People are looking for their phones. They're looking for their loved ones that are sitting next to them. So people are helping out each other, and like I mean, it totally varied. Everybody was trying to help everyone else get out. But I mean, there's a moment where like, should we just stay here for the emergency services? But the car started to fill up with smoke, so we decided that we needed to exit. So we actually had to climb up to the top. Our car had actually tipped over, so we had to climb up through the roof, using the chairs as ladders. Passengers were helping other passengers, kind of jimmying their way up there. Like I was pushing somebody, someone helped pull me, and then we were stuck on the top of the train. That's where you could actually see kind of what had occurred. You could see that the first and second cars, the first cars were just crumpled, and the the car before me that I was thinking about being on, like was also just kind of like crushed at the end.
You were in the third car.
I was in the third car, yeah, because it was just like a split decision if I was in the second or third. I mean, the scariest part is that you weren't seeing people coming out of those two cars.
Now, I don't ask you how you're doing. I see some bruises on your face here. So you were taken to the hospital. How did you get the bruises on your face?
It was just kind of the whole like kind of tumbling action. So I mean, like people like me who could actually like walk out, they kind of like took us to kind of a safe area. But I mean, there's other people too. I mean, I don't feel injured compared to like the people who were being taken out in gurneys, people who were unconscious. I mean, and like just being that close to the first two cars, like. I'm perfectly fine.
As you walked away, I mean, is this a surreal moment to look back and see this train here?
I mean, like it's the moment you're never prepared for. I mean, it's just kind of like that one moment from like it just seems like a wide turn to like this is seriously wrong. So I mean, end of the day, I know that I'm not processing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just kind of focused on the logistics of getting home, that kind of thing. Like,
Was the train going fast?
and once again, I'm not really sure if it was or not. It felt like a very typical ride to me because I do this, trip, once every month or so. So I mean, it felt perfectly normal until that moment that it obviously wasn't. So.
And what we were talking about earlier was the fact that everybody was really helping everybody, and then how quickly were first responders on the scene?
So I mean. We were kind of, in the car, like, people were like, should we wait for first responders? Because, like, do you really want to make the 8-foot jump with one shoe on? But that's the time, first responders were just getting there. I mean, like, planes had just started to circle. I mean, it was all within that kind of matter of, I don't really know what time's a little bit different in those kind of moments. But, the first people who came were, like, watch out for live wires. They started helping people out. And then other kind of first responders started to, like, guide us. There's just definitely a moment of, like, what do I do now? People who had phones we're giving it to people who didn't have phones to call loved ones. I mean, I gave that to somebody else after I made my calls to my family and friends, um, and like it was just a moment like we hugged each other. I mean, so it totally kind of varied. But I mean, the first responders by that time were kind of coming in swarms.
Right. And
So,
all your
like,
belongings are still on the train.
yeah, I don't think they're gonna
Just kind
let me
of
get out.
walked right off with what you had on your back.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the cars at the back. I mean, I think people could just grab their stuff, but for probably the fourth car up, I mean, you were lucky to get out. I mean, I was really excited to have a shoe and a phone. So, um, yeah, I'm thankful that I had that.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to stop and talk to us today, and I'm glad you're okay. First and foremost, before everything else, that you're okay yourself. Just a few bumps and bruises.
Yeah. So,
Well, thank you very much. And you're from Williamsburg.
yes,
So we're going to help you get home to Williamsburg, okay?
that would be
Well,
amazing.
thank you very much for talking to us this
Okay.
morning. And guys, as soon as we hear more from the NTSB that are here on the scene right now conducting their investigation, going through the black boxes, trying to figure out if there's a mechanical failure or not, we'll, of course, bring that to you. But for now, we're live in Philadelphia. I'm Dan Manarino, Pix 11 News.
And I have a question for Beth because I know she described the way, as I understand, she's describing it is that really the moment she knew something was wrong was when the train was going off the tracks. Did she hear anything? Did she feel any kind of braking before that, or in that process, or was it just full speed until the train went off the tracks?
Beth, did you hear anything before the train entered the curve? Was there screeching? Was it sound like it was braking? Did it feel like it was braking?
I mean, I've heard this now from the reports, but I didn't. In the moment, I didn't really feel anything. I mean, I just really just ended a conversation. It felt like just a wide turn. I talked to the other people who were in my hospital from the second and fourth cars, and they said kind of similarly. Like it just felt like something you just had to like grab your Gatorade on. I mean, there could have been a crash too, but I mean, like in that kind of slow moment when we were scraping, I mean, you kind of drop
Did it
sound.
sound like scraping?
I mean, you look down and you know that your car. At the time, you have no idea what's going on.
Right.
You're just kind of shifting, and
Did it feel like it was going in slow motion?
yeah.
And when you say a wide turn, I mean, it is a big curve that it goes around.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt like, it's just kind of the kind of moment where you just feel like you need to catch your water at the other end, or like grab your computer. It felt like that kind of just regular kind of like wide turn until it. I mean, that the moment that it all kind of goes black and.
Okay, I was just gonna let it go without pause, but I mean, if something goes off the track at that high of a speed, it wouldn't be the way she's putting it. Has anyone been in a car accident before? This would be a very violent car accident. A big, massive object traveling at this high of a speed. There would be many casualties, Truth Seeker.
I'm just not sure what's up and down.
And I think that's exactly what investigators are going to be looking at is what happened as the train entered that curve. By the way, just a quick note, this is not the first time there was actually a train derailment at this site. Back in 1943 was the site of America's worst train crash. Happened here at Frankford Station as well. So investigators are going to be looking into all the pieces and trying to put this puzzle together, guys.
Just a quick question. I know she's from Williamsburg. Her family's watching. They're probably getting a great look at her. If she wants to send out a message to her family or her friends who are possibly watching right now, does she have anything to say to them? Because I'm sure. I mean, I could just feel the pain in her voice, and I could just see it.
Yeah.
What would she like to share with them?
Yeah. We are a New York station, so
Look at how the news anchors. See that woman, she's on a lot. She's well trained in this. See how she's validating what maybe the audience really didn't see. She said, "Oh, I can see the pain, the sadness in there." Did you see that, Truth Seeker? Did you see that in this person? Or did you see someone rattling off words? Not making a whole lot of sense.
if any of your friends or family are watching right now, were you able to talk to them, or do you want to just tell them something right now that you're okay?
I mean, I think I'm okay. Um, I think most people have like followed it. One note: I hope my dog walker got my email and is walking my dogs right now.
Both dogs.
Yes.
Both of your dogs. All right. Well, thank you very much for taking this. I'm really glad that you're okay and you're here to talk to us and you're able to tell everybody at home that you love them and that you got to get those dogs walked. It's
Yeah,
early in
you
the
do.
morning. I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I'm glad to see you smile too.
They're freaking out, I'm sure, but whatever.
I'm glad to see you smile. We'll get you
They'll
home
live
soon.
through it.
They'll live through it. You live through it. They live through it. It's tough times out here, but I'm glad to see her crack a little bit of a smile this morning. Guys, back to you.
You know what? Give her a hug for us, Dan, because I could tell that she's just
I
been,
know.
yeah, she's been through a lot, and you could see it. I know she's a strong lady, and she's seen the worst of it and was able to crawl out, and she is one of the lucky ones because once
Very
again,
strong.
six people now confirmed dead, 140.
Truth Seeker, do you understand that the people in the media who knowingly are people who are aware of what they're doing are some of the biggest sellouts to humanity in this world? Think about this. The people who are willing to do this, to participate in this, it's a tragedy. I wonder if they're aware of their actions. Maybe they're ignorant of the consequences of their actions. I would at least hope so.
Six people taken to a local hospital. Dan Manarino live on the ground. And I also want to tell you that the NTSB Go team partial.
Doesn't Dan Manarino sound like a real name, Truth Seeker? It's all too perfect, isn't it? Beth Davidz. The only time she uses her Facebook is on her birthday, when she's at journalism thing, and after a supposedly tragic train crash. With regards to that number 43, the word massacre equals 43. They said that was the worst train crash there since 43. Alright, until next time, Truth Seeker. Encore, Truth Seeker. I just got the idea to look up the 1943 train wreck that they referenced. Look at the date it happened on, September 6th, 9-6. The word Freemason equals 96. Satanism equals 96. Knowledge equals 96. Supposedly it happened at 6:06. 6:06, Truth Seeker. 117 injuries, 79 deaths. The word murder equals 79. What do you make of it, Truth Seeker? I say they've been hoaxing us all through history. All through history. This is how they forged it. One hoax after another. Truth Seeker, it happened on Labor Day weekend. Labor Day. You know what Labor Day is about? Labor Day is them laughing at us. Have your day off, your tribute to being an annual slave. Labor Day sums to 33. The only holiday in the calendar year that has a Pythagorean gematria of 33, Labor Day. Up here in Seattle on the 47th parallel, we have a museum called the Seattle Art Museum, abbreviated the SAM. SAM has a gematria of 33, simple English. That museum opened in 33. 33 designer, Robert. These tributes are everywhere. We live in a Freemason creation. A lot of it's based on revelation. Alright, Truth Seeker, until next time.